Hello, 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 and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You Time for You, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I am a midlife renewal coach supporting women worldwide to lean into and realize the importance of you. This channel aims to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that will help you shift, change, reevaluate, and or become way more aware of what is possible. We have a variety of incredible guests sharing their life experiences that have helped them become the amazing human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, have had that infamous free time, and we might feel frequently guilty, embarrassed, or sometimes just feel wrong for taking out time for ourselves. We are here to change that and support you to see what is possible when you take the time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute honor and a privilege to introduce Lucy Millian Wall. Lucy is the founder of a boutique professional organizing firm, a role that is both a calling and a lifelong passion. From a young age, she learned the power of organization from her father, a skill that has become essential as she navigated the demands of graduate school, balancing academic and work with ease. With over a decade of experience in this field, Lucy has personally transformed the lives of more than 350 clients through hands-on organizing, while also reaching thousands more through her newsletter, social media, webinars, and live presentations. Her expertise goes beyond tidying up. She helps clients conquer stress, overwhelm, and exhaustion by creating functional, harmonious spaces. Whether it's making sense of an oddly shaped room or adjusting to limited space, managing the chaos of a growing family, or learning to let go of what no longer serves them, Lucy brings clarity and calm to every project she touches. Please join me in welcoming Lucy to our show today. It's an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
We were just talking before the show. We set this up a while ago, so
We
it's
sure
so
did.
great. It's so great to have this conversation with you today. I can only begin to imagine the impact that your work in supporting, I love the vast difference in terms of people that you support and what they are actually looking for. And does it all come and stem down to general organization? And maybe I'm using the term wrong, general. Maybe it's not general. Maybe it's specific.
Yeah, it does. Or being organized is really a set of very simple skills. I say simple, I do not say easy, right?
Mm,
Um,
good distinction. I like that. Mhm.
yes, yes. And so it's figuring out how to use those skills in different areas of life. But what it boils down to is being able to categorize and store things in a way that you can easily retrieve them for use. That's pretty much what being organized means. Everything else is just sort of frosting on top of the cake.
Okay. So is there a process that's specific that you like to ensure people start with, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I always start with decluttering, always, because the less
Ah,
stuff you have, the easier it is to organize it. It just puts everything on easy mode if you get rid of the noise. Most people, myself included, very much so, have too much stuff. We just do. It's part of the sort of cultural waters we bathe in, right? That like the solution to your problem is to buy something. And every problem you have, you buy something, that stuff just adds up, right? And so we always start right off the top with decluttering before we ever think about what the organization system is going to be.
I love that. Because what's coming through for me right now is if you just organize what you have, it's going to probably just get disorganized because you're just going to keep adding. Am I?
Y- Yeah, absolutely. I like
Yeah.
to leave my clients with what I call breathing room. So if I'm
Mm.
organizing a closet, there needs to be space to add more clothing, because the reality is you're going to buy more clothes in your life. you know, like we can't max it out, because then you have no room to grow. And when you fill the space to its absolute limit, you're not allowing for new things to happen, for your life to take new directions, for new needs to be fulfilled. And so I really like to leave people with that actual physical breathing room for stuff, because the stuff is what enables us to do the things.
Interesting. Sounds to me, as you're talking, it sounds to me like it's more than just about the stuff.
It is more than just about the stuff. Yes, absolutely. There are so many things that are wrapped up in our stuff, right? It's
Yes,
who we are, who we see ourselves as in the world, who we even want to be. I mean, a big challenge with organizing is helping someone sort of grapple with the fact that the wardrobe they have doesn't match the life that they live, even though there may be perfectly lovely pieces of clothing and accessories and whatever in the closet. But if it doesn't match their life, then that might be taking up space that could open up possibilities for something new.
I love that. So it's not just the physicality, it's also about the mental piece and it's also about the action taking, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you do? I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I've done a good job on my closet. However, I know I still have a few things that I know I'm never going to fit back into. I'm never going to wear again. Do I continue to keep those that every once in a while just look at them and oh, there's a memory? Or is there another approach I can take where it's not taking up space in my closet? It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, so my overall approach to memorabilia, sentimental items is, if we can, find a way to make it part of our lives, because something I
mm,
say often that people find very difficult, but if you think about it a little bit, you realize where I'm going with this. The lived experience of boxing something up and putting it in the basement or garage is the exact same daily lived experience as having thrown it away. You are going to look at it the same number of times, which is zero. That's kind of how it works. And so, if it's an important memory, then the box in the garage is not where it should go. It should be part of our lives. There's different ways to do that with clothing. I mean, I've seen people like put something in a frame. You can take a photo and make a scrapbook of like favorite outfits. There's lots of creative solutions. People make t-shirts out of make quilts out of t-shirts.
right.
Lots of creative solutions. But in the end, I do find that as long as you have pictures of yourself wearing this stuff,
Mm,
that's where the magic is, right? Because then it's not just about the item, which really the item isn't what it is, right? It's what you were doing, what you were feeling while you were wearing the item.
it's the experience that you had
Hmm.
whilst in the item, or like you say, wearing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
so brilliant. And yet, simple, not necessarily easy.
Correct. Because that
Yeah.
transition, that's a big leap to make for somebody who's felt, and I think we feel security, right? From holding on to stuff. It's like, if I still have these things, then I'm still me. If I
Mm,
don't have these things, who am I? Can I be me without these items? And you can, but it's a big transition to make.
absolutely. And do you assist in that transition as well as working through the organization piece? I kind of feel there might be overlap there that you work
Well,
through. Yeah. Or,
I really do stick to the stuff. The stuff
okay.
brings up a lot of conversations, and we do have those conversations, but I do my best to stay in my lane, because I'm not a
Yep.
therapist, I'm not a coach.
Gotcha.
I'm an organizer.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. No, I love that. I love that. Do you ever team up with coaches to support in a dual capacity or anything like that?
I have teamed up with a lot of different kinds of professionals over the
Mm-hmm.
years. I've teamed up with therapists, I've teamed up with coaches, I've teamed up with interior designers, I've teamed up with
Mm,
architects, anyone, any profession where the stuckness of the stuff is really impacting that professional's work with the client. I can come in and address the stuff, because
gotcha.
those professionals don't want to be doing that.
Of course. Like you say, everybody's got their piece of the pie that will help the
Hmm.
whole picture move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you share a story or two of some of the huge wins that have occurred and what shifted or any of the highlights? if you
Yeah, I have
can do
two I
that?
can think of.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
good.
two that I can think of right off the top of my head. One was actually pretty recent. This lovely family, they'd been living in their home for, I think, a couple of years. They had moved in with one child and then had their second in the home. And they kind of woke up one morning and they were like, whatever we've been doing, it is no longer working. And they face challenges, which I live in San Francisco, and a lot of people in San
Okay.
Francisco face these challenges, which is it's a smaller space than you would be able to afford if you did not live in a city. Our housing stock is old, so it's funny shaped. Rooms tend to
Okay.
be small, storage tends to be weird, remodels are kind of all over the place. And then both parents are working, so they're dealing with staff as well. They've got a nanny and they've got a housekeeper. And so between all of that, it's hard to stay organized. And so we came in and we did a complete declutter and reorg of their main living area. It was kitchen, pantry, family room, and playroom. And at the end of our last session, the client said to me, "You have just really improved our quality of life. Like our
Mm,
daily lives are better because of this." So it's not like, like the, the heavens opened and the lights streaming down. It's more like, oh, wow, literally every one of my days is easier than it used to be.
love that. And who doesn't want to have days that come with flow and ease? Like, seriously,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Isn't that what we all want?
So, can you tell me what is so important about being organized? Like, what is the big shtick about at the end of the day? Because I think of organization and I go, yeah, I'll get to that. But I
Yeah.
have all these other, like my to do is really big. So, organization, I like it. It's going to be there. What's the tipping point that makes that such an important piece?
Yes. So it is actually a reframe that I like to talk about, which is getting organized is not the goal. That's kind of a dumb goal, right? Like it's not exciting. You don't know where it's leading you. How is my life going to be better if I get organized? Getting organized is not the goal. We get organized so that we can do other things. So
Ah,
whatever goal that you have, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's with your family, being organized in the spaces where you are working to accomplish that goal will make it easier to work towards that goal. And in fact, having that goal in mind while you're organizing it means that you can organize it specifically for that goal. So, like this family I was talking about, they were having real frustration with their nanny and their housekeeper putting stuff away where it didn't belong. And this is not malicious at all, right? They
no.
they were just like, well, this makes sense to me. This is what I'm going to do. And so, with that goal in mind, we were able to really clearly define in this kitchen a place for each item and label each thing. And for some people, that's totally overkill. But for their stated goal of
Hmm.
having the staff members in the household be able to use their system, it worked beautifully.
So do you work with your clients to uncover what their goals are as part of that process so that you can
Absolutely.
move the
Absolutely. We start with that
organizing?
in the consultation. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
a number one. Because if I don't know why you're getting organized and what you're trying to do with the space, it's kind of like, what am I what am I gonna do here?
So do you ever have people who reach out to you who are in the throes of everybody says I need to get organized. So I'm reaching out to you because everybody else is telling me, but they don't actually see it themselves?
I've
So,
only ever had one like
okay.
that, and I did not end up taking on that client because if you are not ready to make change, this process will not work for you. You
Mhm.
have to be willing to switch up how you do things. And somebody who's getting a lot of outside pressure hasn't necessarily made that transition yet. So in this particular case, it was a gentleman who wanted his girlfriend to move in, and his girlfriend said, not until you get organized. And I pretty quickly discovered through my consultation process of trying to unearth his goals and whatever, his goal was to make his girlfriend happy. His
Yeah.
goal was not to get organized. And that would have put me in a major lose-lose situation. Like I can't accomplish that goal for you through
Abs
organization.
I love that this conversation has surfaced because it doesn't mean because you reach out to Lucy, she's going to take you on as a client.
Right.
It
Yes.
has to be something that she can see is part of her journey to support you in what it is your goal that you are working towards. How is there a length of time or does it depend on the situation? How does that work
It
for
re-
you?
It really depends.
Yeah.
We have done a studio apartment in 4 hours, but keep in mind this was a single gentleman with not a lot of stuff who just
Yep.
needed kind of a quick reset. We've also spent, weeks and months working through a very large home with
Sure.
clients and just perfecting each and every space. So it really depends again on the goals, on the budget, on the time they have to commit.
Of
So
course. Of
yeah,
courm
pardon me, I
Yeah.
dropped my AirPod.
It's okay. Hey, we do real life here, and that happens. So we are not um, editing out and doing all the stuff behind the scenes. We're real.
I'm
No
organized, not
problem.
perfect.
Exactly. There you go. There it is in a nutshell, right? We are human. I love that. So if people are looking to, and here's another question I'm going to, because this is coming up for me right now too. Is there a difference between organization and clutter? How do those intersect? I know you said you talked about the clutter part a
hmm
little bit, but
hmm
how do those two intersect or work together or not? How does that work?
Yeah. So the way I like to distill it is clutter is unknown. Clutter is anything where you don't know where it goes or what you need to do with it, but you know you
Oh,
got to do something. And
okay.
that unknown is the gap between something that's useful and something that's clutter. And anything can be clutter. Truly
Of course.
anything in your home if it's an unknown. And the reason why clutter piles up is those unknowns are scary, and the more unknowns there
Mm,
are, the scarier it gets. Because
right.
then you're thinking, "Oh my God, once I start tackling this, I'm going to have to make a lot of decisions that are going to be difficult, and I just don't want to do that." And so that's
Mm,
why we tend to avoid dealing with our clutter, because we have to make this leap from unknown to known.
right, right. And do you find people who are in the unknown have nec- maybe been there a while, or is it new, or does it vary?
It varies. It does tend to creep up on people over a
Mm,
long period of time. People don't usually go from like everything's fine to tons of clutter overnight. It generally has to do with life transitions, I find. Like when people have their first child, that just sends everything into a tailspin in terms of how they live. And so clutter it becomes a part of that, and babies tend to come with a lot of stuff. So but other transitions can be difficult too. I've worked with empty
mm-hmm.
nesters, and that is a
Mm,
really tough transition because you are set up for a particular lifestyle, and all of a sudden, that lifestyle completely changes basically overnight, and you have to adjust the way you think about it. I mean, I had one client who I helped with downsizing over a period of years, and we'd take months long breaks because she would find it so difficult to really kind of admit to herself that like she's not having like all the teenagers over for like a big movie night anymore.
yeah, yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And it's a journey, it's a process. I mean,
it
that's the
is.
work that I do is help women in their midlife years with the various transitions that happen, whether it's work related, moving into retirement, empty
Mhm.
nesting, caregiving older parents, whatever. There's a multitude of things that can, and sometimes all shower down at once, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, so I love the work you do. I'm so grateful our paths have crossed. Are there any tidbits of information that you can share with our audience that gives them an opportunity to open a new lens of thinking just through our
Mhm.
conversation? Is there anything that you can share that would be like a little golden nugget? We like giving nuggets.
I one thing I always like to tell people is do not let perfect be the enemy of the good. I
Mm,
often see that people, especially women in midlife who are smart and accomplished, as your audience is, they don't want to start something they don't know they can finish and
mhm,
finish well. And getting organized, it is a long process. It is, in a way, a never ending process. And so that can be really daunting to somebody who wants to be very good at everything they do. And so I encourage people to start small, do a little bit, build the muscle, get
mhm.
the little wins, and let that be part of your process instead of thinking, this weekend, I'm organizing the whole house, because the people for whom that works are very few and far between.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's brilliant. I know you do presentations. I know you do live support. Do you do virtual? How does any of that work? Yeah, we'd love
Yeah,
to know more.
absolutely. So I'm available for presentations. I do presentations to workplaces and employee resource groups a lot. So if you've got a women's group at your company, I'd love to come talk to you guys about organizing,
Mhm.
um, or any other interest group. And then in terms of one-on-one, yes, I do virtual organizing. And so what virtual organizing is, I'm obviously not there in the room, so I can't pick up the
Sure,
stuff and
of
move it
course.
for you,
Yeah.
but I sort of serve as the cheerleader, the consultant, the guide through the process. And so when we're doing virtual, we'll meet for between 30 and 60 minutes once a week. We'll talk through what needs to be done. We may even start a little bit if you're feeling kind of unsure about how it's going to go. And then we sort of assign homework for the next week and then repeat process. I have done an entire apartment clean out this way.
Mm,
It takes longer, but it does work.
yeah, awesome, awesome. Um, do you find when people who have worked with you, you've mentioned about their life changes because they're taking the steps to make changes, and this is one component, but it's a bigger component than people believe and understand. Do you find that it sticks
I do.
generally? Yeah,
In
good.
fact, that is something I pride myself on in
Mm,
relation to maybe other people in the organizing space. Because when
yeah,
I work with somebody, I'm really taking into account their physical pattern as they move through her. I mean, like I'll ask them to walk me. Like I did a consultation last week and I said, walk me from getting out of your car through your garage into your home. Show me where you put the stuff. Because it's so much easier to reorganize the space than it is to change the habits. And so I really want to make sure that whatever we do is tailored to the person so that even if they fall off the wagon a little bit, because that happens,
yeah,
myself included, that
yeah.
it's easier for them to get back on.
Reorganize the space than change the habit. I love that.
Mhm.
That just makes so much sense to me. So much sense. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your expertise. We have in the show notes how to get a hold of you. You have a website and you are also on Instagram, I believe. Yes?
I am. I'm most active on Instagram. I do also
Okay.
have a TikTok and a
Oh,
YouTube,
good.
and they're all LMW edits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And they are in the show notes. So if anything that Lucy has shared, absolutely reach out to her, find her, connect with her, follow her, grab all her nuggets. And thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time, energy, and it's so great to be with you live finally.
Yes.
So
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. This was
good.
such a great conversation. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you to our audience. And if you have any questions, put them in the show notes. We always go through our show notes. If you have anything that you want to learn more about, put it in the show notes. We are happy to answer and happy to connect you with Lucy. Have a great day, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you later. Bye.